हरि ओम। ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So this 9th chapter, राजविद्या राजगुह्य योग, भगवान begins it by saying that I will give you that knowledge and that experience which will make you free from this samsara. This knowledge is the greatest of all knowledge. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam, and the greatest purifier which can be directly realized, which is dharmyam, in tune with dharma, and susukham kartum, and very easy to follow, acquire, and avyayam, indestructible. So Bhagavan says you should have faith in this. But those who don't have faith in this knowledge, they don't attain that Ishvara, and they are stuck in this samsara. Mrityu samsara vartmani nivartante. They come again and again in this samsara. They are born again and again in this samsara. So what is that supreme knowledge of Ishvara? Ishvara Swarup we should understand. And Ishvara Swarup is our own Swarup. Our own self is not different from that supreme nature of Ishvara, that is Brahma. So that is being said in the two verses. We chanted them the other day. We'll chant them again now. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavvyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha nachamasthani bhutani Pashyame yogameshwaram bhutabhrunna cha bhutastha mamatma bhutabhavanaha. Bhagavan says that maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina. He makes these four important statements about his own self. Bhagavan says, this whole world which you see, idam jagat, is pervaded by me. Maya tatam means in every nook and corner, in every cell, in every space, everything is pervaded by me. I am present in this world. See that Ishvara or the Brahma is the very cause of this world. So cause is present in the effect. That is the general law. The material cause is present in the effect completely. Like the clay is present in all clay pots. Like gold is present in all gold ornaments. There is not a cell, not a atom which is free from that gold. Every ornament is pervaded by gold. Similarly, everything is pervaded by that Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma is pure existence, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. All that we experience in this world is experienced as existing. But that existence itself is subtle, it cannot be seen, it is unmanifest. We see an object existing, but what exactly is that existence is very mystical, is transcendental. We are aware of the world. So this world is pervaded, Bhagavan says, by me. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina, by my unmanifest nature. Bhagwan's nature is unmanifest. But all that is present, all that is manifest, is due to the power of that Supreme Brahma alone. So that Brahma is present in everything. Though it is unmanifest, it is present in everything. So maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. This is the first important statement. Then the second, Bhagavan says the entire world, all the beings, they are present in me, they exist in me. Matsthani sarva bhutani. Everything and everyone exist in me. The karya exists in the karana. The karya, the effect, exists in the cause. All gold ornaments exist in gold. Gold supports the ornaments. Ornaments may have different shapes. They may have different names. They may have different utility. But all the ornaments are supported by gold. Means without gold, ornaments cannot exist. The very existence of the ornament depends on gold. If gold is removed, ornaments are not there. Ornaments cannot exist without gold. Therefore, Bhagavan says that all the beings, they exist in me. Starting from all the way from Hiranyagarbha, Vaishvanara, all the Devatas, all the different beings in other lokas, all the beings in this world, animals, birds, plants, fish, human beings, all of them, Bhagavan says, exist in me. I am the very substratum of all beings. I am the very self of all. Without that self, nothing can exist. Without existence, nothing can exist. If you remove existence, a thing is not existing. It may have different color, different form, different shapes. But if that existence is not there, then it doesn't exist. So Bhagavan says, everything exists in me. I am the very support of all this creation. Okay. Now the third statement, Bhagavan says, I don't exist in them. Nacha aham teshu avastitaha. I am not present in them. What does it mean? Bhagavan says, I, the cause, is not present in that effect. Means there is something, some nature of that effect which is what you call unique for that effect. Bhagavan is not present in that. That Brahma is not present in that effect. For example, when we see this world, the world is constantly changing. This change is the very nature of the effect. World is an effect, and change is its nature. But that Brahma is changeless. Therefore, that Brahma is not present in the changing phenomena. It is not present in the change. Brahma doesn't change. The clay pots, they have different shapes and they undergo modification, they change, but the clay doesn't change. Before the pot is made, the clay is there. When the pot is existing, clay is there. And the pot get destroyed, clay is there. And the pot has got utpatti, sthiti, laya. It is created, it is sustained, it is dissolved. But the clay remains unaffected. The nature of clay is different from the nature of pot. Though the clay is present in the pot, means clay pervades the pot, but the clay is not a pot. This is a very important and strange relationship which we have to understand. See if we can take another example of water. Water is made up of H2O molecule. There are two elements of what we call hydrogen and one oxygen. They together, when they come together, they express as water. But if you look at hydrogen, hydrogen is a gas highly inflammable, and oxygen helps that fire. For something to burn, oxygen is required, and this hydrogen, it burns, and both of them are gas. But when they come together, they become water. Water doesn't burn. In fact, water extinguishes fire. Water is liquid. Water is important for our sustenance. So water is having different quality, and hydrogen, oxygen has got different quality. But hydrogen and oxygen is present in water. It pervades water. But it is not it is not present in the quality of water. In the same way, the quality of this world is limited, world is changing, world is inert. Changing means asatyam. World is asatyam. Asatyam means constantly changing. World is inert, jada. It's something which is seen. It is drishyam. It's jadam, inert. And the world is limited, means it is made up of parts. But that Atma, that Brahma is Satyam. World is Asatyam, Brahma is Satyam. World is Jadam, Brahma is Jnanam. World is Parichinnam, limited, Brahma is Anantam. So the nature of world is different from the nature of Brahma. Therefore Bhagavan says, I am not present in the world. With that sense we should understand. Nacha aham teshu avastitaha. I am not present in the world. I am not dependent on the world. My nature is different. The nature of world is different. And If you see my nature by itself, Bhagavan says, in me there is no world. In me there are no beings. Nachamasthani bhutani. Pashyame yogameshwaram. See my great nature. In me there is no world. So these four important statements to make us understand the nature of Ishvara. Ishvara is Sakshat, that Brahma only. Ishvara alone is expressing as this world. So when he says that I am present in this whole world, he himself is the world. Maya tatamidam sarvam. Ishvara alone is the world of all matter and life. Everything is Ishvara. That is Bhagavan's that Vaishvanara Rupa. As Vaishvanara, Bhagavan alone is everything and everyone. Everything is the body of body of Vaishvanara. Everything is Vaishvanara alone. But this Vaishvanara has come from Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic mind and intellect, with cosmic ahankar and prana. So when that Hiranyagarbha was born, nothing else was there. There was no matter, there was no world outside. So everything was potentially present in Hiranyagarbha. And even now, the whole world is present in the mind of Hiranyagarbha. The entire world is existing in the total mind and intellect of Hiranyagarbha. From his mind only, he produced this whole world. So the world exists in Hiranyagarbha. Everything is existing in him. He is the very Atma of everything. He has given birth to Vaishvanara, and he has given birth to all the other beings. So the entire creation exists in Hiranyagarbha. But Hiranyagarbha is born from that Ishvara. Hiranyagarbha has ahankar, Hiranyagarbha has mind, Hiranyagarbha has buddhi. All changes happen in the buddhi, in the mind. Vaishvanara is born. All changes happen, but Ishvara is changeless. Ishvara is formless. The entire creation is present in Ishvara potentially. And even when it gets expressed, Ishvara doesn't undergo any modification, any change. Ishvara, everything has come from Ishvara. The world is not different from Ishvara. Vaishvanara is not different from Ishvara. Hiranyagarbha is not different from Ishvara. but Ishvara is different from all of them. But what is the nature of Ishvara? With respect to his Shakti, that is Prakriti and Maya, Prakriti or Maya, Brahma is called Ishvara. But the Shakti or Maya is not different from Brahma. Shakti is not different from Shaktiman. In Brahma, there is only Brahma. Brahma alone is there. Other than Brahma, nothing is there. Shakti is not different from Brahma. So in the Swarupa of Brahma, there is nothing other than Brahma. Brahma alone is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So there is no world, there are no beings. It is pure Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That is the ultimate Swarupa of that Brahma. So from the world, slowly and steadily, Bhagwan shifts our attention to that supreme Swarupa of Brahma, his own supreme Swarupa. From the form, that formless is indicated, pointed out. From the effect, the cause is pointed out. And once one realizes the cause, one will know that there are no effect in them. So this relationship we have to understand. The cause is present in the effect, but the effect is not present in the cause. Vaishvanara is Brahma, but Brahma is not Vaishvanara. Hiranyagarbha is Brahma, but Brahma is not Hiranyagarbha. Ishvara is Brahma, but Brahma is not Ishvara. Similarly, Jiva, all Jivas are Brahma, but Brahma is not Jiva. World is Brahma, but Brahma is not world. This is called Karya Karana Ananyatva Nyaya. Karya Karana Ananyatva, oneness of Karya and Karana. So Bhagwan has indicated his own Swarupa through these four statements, and ultimately he pointed out himself as that Brahma in which nothing exists. Other than Brahma, nothing is there. That Brahma is our own Supreme Self. That Brahma is called Turiya Atma. So these four statements, let us try to understand subjectively. Subjectively speaking, we experience our own existence in the waking, in the dream, in deep sleep. We experience ourselves existing in the waking, in dream, in deep sleep. So in the waking, I should understand this first statement, कि मया ततम इदम सर्वम जगत अव्यक्त मूर्तिना. I, my Supreme Swarupa, is Avyakta only, is Nirguna Nirakar, is that Brahma. The Turiya Atma is Brahma, is Avyakta, is Nirguna Nirakar. That Turiya Atma is present not only in this body, but is present in the entire world. I am present in the world in my unmanifest form. I am present, I pervade the entire world in my unmanifest form. These are very important and very deep statements which we have to meditate, contemplate and understand. Means I have to identify with that Vaishvanara and understand that this whole world is there and I pervade the whole world. I am present in the whole world. Just like in this body, I feel I am present in every cell of this body. But this I is not different from that Vaishvanara. Therefore, I should understand that I am present in each and every object, each and everything of this entire world. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina. I am present in this whole material world. I am present. I pervade the entire world. The Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, and all the beings, everything is pervaded by me. Okay? Then I experience my dream. The one who is awake, that I alone experiences the dream. Means what happens? I am totally cut off from the physical world. I identify only with my mind and antakarana and experience the dream. Means the whole world is only what is presented by my mind and intellect. Though when I individually go to sleep, others are awake, but when I identify with that Vaishvanara and when I identify with Hiranyagarbha, I know that when I go at the subtler level of my mind and intellect, the whole gross physical world, everything is existing in my mind only. So when I close my eyes and meditate on this world, I know I should meditate that entire world is in me. Everything and everyone is present in me. Just as the whole dream world is present in me, this entire creation is present in me. Everything exists in me. Matsthani sarva bhutani. Because this is the fact. I am that Hiranyagarbha. I am that Taijasa, is also called Taijasa. In me exists this entire world. But my own mind, intellect, and this cosmic mind, intellect, in which the whole world exists, it has come from that Ishvara. It is the expression of Ishvara's Prakriti. And I am not different from Ishvara. So I should understand that I am that Ishvara and I am not present in the world. Means I am not the changes and inertness which is there in the world. I am that pure Satchidananda Ishvara alone. So nachaham teshu avastitaha. I am not present in the changes, in the modifications. I am that pure, that Ishvara. Means I am not the ornaments, I am gold. From where the ornaments have come. I am that Ishvara from whom all this world has come. But I am not the world, I am that Ishvara. And then, once I understand my nature, I should know that I alone am there is no world. Nachamasthani bhutani, in me, in that pure Satchidananda Brahma, that I as pure Turiya Atma, as that Brahma, there is no world, there are no beings. These are the 4 steps to understand ourselves as Brahma. All the Upanishads, all our scriptures, they give this knowledge to us that you are Brahma. But that we can understand in these 4 steps. First, understand yourself as Vaishvanara. Then merge that Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha, understand yourself as that Hiranyagarbha. Then merge that Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, in Ishvara, and understand yourself as Ishvara. And then understand yourself as that Brahma. Just like I had mentioned in the 8th chapter, that Om, that A merges in U merges in Ma, and then it becomes Om. Or like if Brahma is 1 rupees, then the 25 paisa of Vaishvanara merge to become 50 paisa of Hiranyagarbha, merge into Ishvara to become 75 paisa, and merge into Brahma to become that 1 rupee. So I am always 1 rupee. But now I feel I am 25 paisa or even less than that. So I have to understand myself as that 1 rupee, that Supreme Brahma. So here Bhagwan has revealed his own identity. He is that Brahma. When Bhagwan Krishna speaks, that Bhagwan is Brahma only, who expressed as Ishvara, as Hiranyagarbha, Vaishvanara, but his supreme Swarupa is Brahma. So we have to understand that Brahma and realize when Bhagwan talks about Karma Yoga, he means that perform all this karma dedicated to this Brahma. When he talks about Upasana, he says that you do Upasana of this Brahma. When he talks about Bhakti, he says you do Bhakti of this Brahma. When he talks about Sharanagati, he says you surrender to this Brahma. So here, later on, Bhagwan will talk about Bhakti. What he means is we have to develop that supreme love for this Brahma. Brahma as Brahma, or Brahma is Ishvara, or Brahma is Hiranyagarbha, Brahma is Vaishvanara. We have to have that love. Love for that Brahma, Nirgun Nirakar Brahma, or Sagun Brahma. So through that love for that Brahma, we will be able to realize our own Swarupa. So having said this, Bhagavan says, Pashyame Yogameshwaram, hey Arjuna, you see my supreme nature. I am not ordinary. I am not just appearing because I am appearing in this body. Don't think me as a limited being. You see my Aishwarya, see my glory, see my this mysterious nature, see my most wonderful nature. Pashyame Yogameshwaram. Further, Bhagavan says that Bhuta Bhran Nacha Bhutastaha. One more wonder, one more miracle I will tell you here, Arjuna. Bhagavan says that though I am not existing in the world, means I am not the nature of this world. The nature of world is different than my own nature. But I am the one who sustains and nourishes this world. I nourish the world. Bhuta Bhrat. Bhuta Bhrat means I nourish. I nourish all beings. I give them field to exist. I give them the results of their karma. I give them the results of their upasana. I give the result of their jnana. I nourish all beings. I give them food, clothing, shelter. All beings are nourished by me. But great Ashcharya, I am not in them. If their bodies are changing, I am not changing. If they are experiencing sorrow, I am not experiencing sorrow. If they are doing karma, I am not doing karma. I am not in them. So, nacha bhutastaha, I am not present on the beings, but I nourish them. I support them. Bhuta bhrat nacha bhutastaha. Not only support them, but bhuta bhavanaha, that mama atma, that my atma, that is my nature, that is that Brahma, is bhuta bhavanaha, is the one who creates or produces or projects all these beings. Everything is born from me. Bhutani bhavayati, utpadayati, vardhayati iti va bhuta bhavanaha. All the beings are born in me. They are sustained by me. Therefore I am the bhuta bhavanaha. Who? Mama Atma. Here objectively Bhagavan is talking about his own supreme self. That my Atma, that doesn't mean Bhagavan and Atma are two different. But as a what you call as a way of speaking, Bhagavan says this my Atma, this my supreme Swarupa is the most mysterious, most wonderful, that though I support everything, but I am not present in them. So these are the most important and very deep mystical verses. Actually, these two verses are like a sar, essence of even Mandukya Upanishad. What is conveyed in Mandukya Upanishad is briefly conveyed in these two verses. This is also the sar of all the Shastras. So Bhagwan is that Supreme Brahma. With his own Shakti, taking his Shakti as Upadhi, he is called Ishvara. Then with his Upadhi as the Samashti Mana Buddhi, he is called Hiranyagarbha. And his Upadhi as this entire world is called Vaishvanara. And that Vaishvanara is my own waking self. Hiranyagarbha is my own dream self. Ishvara is my own deep sleep self. And Brahma is that Turiya Atma, my own supreme self. These are very deep and very, very mysterious truths which are revealed here. So you please listen to this pravachan again and again and contemplate. So after saying this, Bhagwan, in order to make it more clear what he has said in these two verses, he gives an example in the next verse. So with the help of the example, we will try to again understand these two, what is conveyed in these two verses. Okay? So verse number 6. Yatha kashastito nityam vayus sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthanityupadharaya. Bhagwan says that yatha akashastito nityam vayus sarvatra go mahan. Yatha akashah, just like space, which is all pervading, infinite space. Just as in space there is Vayu, the wind, the air, Vayu. The Vayu is present in Akash. How is the Vayu present in Akash? Nityam. How is this Vayu? Vayu is Nityam, is eternal. Just like the Akash is eternal, the Vayu is also eternally present in the Akash. And what other feature of this Vayu? Bhagwan says it is sarvatra gaha, it is all pervading. The Vayu is all pervading in the Akash. And it is Mahan, it is great. All pervading. See, when we look at it from our earth, when we experience this Vayu, we experience it in the form of this wind. We also breathe in the oxygen. But as you go up away from this earth, or at a higher and higher altitude, the Vayu seems to become rare and rare. If you go up in the Himalayas and all, it becomes difficult to breathe because the Vayu is rare. The pressure of the air is also very less. And if you still go up, then after a particular distance, after a few kilometers above the earth, the Vayu will become so less. Up you have that ozone layer also. Above that you will not encounter any Vayu as we understand. Or if you go in deep space, there is no Vayu, they say it is all vacuum. But here, Bhagavan says Vayu is all pervading. What does it mean? It means that Vayu is present everywhere. In a most subtle form, it is present in the entire creation. We may not be able to notice it with the help of our equipments, but Vayu is present in the entire creation. Actually, this prana, that prana shakti, Bhagavan Shakti, prana, is also present everywhere, and it expresses through this Vayu. So that prana Vayu is present in the entire creation. Vayu is present in entire creation. So one should not feel that it is only limited till a certain distance from earth, but it is present everywhere. See, for example, if you want to speak and communicate with someone, then our speech which comes out from our mouth, it gets propagated to that person through the Vayu, the gross Vayu. But if this gross Vayu is removed, like suppose you keep a bell, keep a alarm clock in a jar, glass jar, and remove all the air from it, make it total like a vacuum. Then when the alarm rings, you will not be able to hear. You can see it ringing, but it will not be heard because to propagate that sound, it requires gross Vayu. But that Vayu is removed, therefore you can't hear. But Vayu, subtler Vayu is present even there. How to understand this? For example, light. Light also travels. Science says that light travels in the form of particles also, light particles. Or sometimes the light travels like waves. So for light to travel, some medium is required. If you see the star in the night, the distant star is very, very far away. Sometimes you can see stars or a galaxy, other galaxies also. Appears like one star, but it is actually the other galaxy which we are seeing. So the light from that galaxy is traveling through intergalactical space, where science says there is no Vayu. But if there is no Vayu, how can light travel? So for light to travel, there must be some media, some medium. So that medium is that Vayu, Prana, which is present everywhere. And by taking the Shakti of that Prana only, this light particle that travel. Light is grosser than Vayu. As we know, Akash, Vayu, Agni. Agni is that light. So subtler than light is that Vayu. Subtler than Vayu is Akash. So for light also to travel, that Shakti of Vayu is required, which is present everywhere. Therefore, this statement of Bhagwan, one should not think it is not in tune with science. It is scientific, but science has not yet discovered the subtler Vayu called Prana. So, yatha kashastito nityam Vayu sarvatra go mahan. Bhagwan says, just as the Vayu which is all pervading and which is eternal is present in the Akash, in the same way Bhagwan says, tatha sarvani bhutani, all beings are present in me. Matsthani iti upadharaya. Understand, Arjuna, that all beings are present in me like Vayu is present in Akash. It's a very beautiful example. So, Bhagwan's Swarup is like Akash. That Brahma is like Akash. And this world of all beings is like Vayu. That Vayu is born from Akash only. And it is sustained in Akash and again merges back into Akash. Most amazing. The great grand Vayu is born in Akash, is sustained in Akash and merges back into Akash. So if Akash has to speak about the Vayu, the Akash will give these 4 statements. Akash will say, Maya tatamidam sarvam. I pervade this entire Vayu. All this Vayu is pervaded by me. In my unmanifest form, I pervade the entire Vayu. That is the first statement. Then the second statement, Akash will say, the whole Vayu exists in me. Vayu exists in me. Then the third statement, Akash will say, I am not present in the Vayu. Means what? That I am not of the nature of Vayu. Vayu is constantly moving from one place to another. Constant change happens in that Vayu. But I am not moving. Akash is not moving anywhere. Vayu is subtler at one place, grosser at another place, keep on traveling, moving. Sometimes it is still, sometimes it is restless. But Akash is same everywhere. Akash doesn't become restless. Akash doesn't change. And in the supreme nature of Akash, there is no Vayu. Because other than Akash, nothing is there. The Vayu also is an expression of Akash only. So if you just look at from the standpoint of Akash, there is only Akash. Just like the ornaments, gold ornaments, if you just purely look from the standpoint of gold, there is only gold. Nothing other than gold is there. Similarly, from the standpoint of Akash, there is only Akash. Similarly, from the standpoint of Brahma, there is only Brahma. Ekameva advitiyam Brahma, neha nanasti kinchana. Other than Brahma, nothing is there. So this example of Akash and Vayu apply for yourself also. So I am like that Akash, and this body and this world is like Vayu. It has come from me, it is sustained in me, and it merges back into me. All changes and transformation is seen happening in the Vayu, but not in me as that Akash. So identify with that Akash. Identify with your own nature as that Akash. Drop all your identification with this Vayu and identify with that Akash. The moment we drop our identification with the Vayu and identify with Akash, that is, the moment we drop our identification with this changing world and identify with our changeless Swarupa, we become free from samsara. Samsara is that false identification. Because of not knowing ourselves, that avidya, we identify with this world, we identify with this body, which causes samsara. You drop this identification and you are free. So, what is the way? First, you understand it deeply, properly, with deep contemplation. Understand what the Shastras are teaching us. Then meditate and realize yourself as you are. Okay? So, it's very fascinating and most beautiful. More we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then, you take care of yourself. Be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, and contemplate. See, Vedanta is not only just listening, but contemplation also is very important part. Listening is Shravanam, contemplation is Mananam, and meditation is called Nididhyasana. So these three steps are there. So I am very happy that all of you are doing this first step of listening. First step of listening you do with the help of the teacher. But the second and third step we have to do alone. Contemplate and meditate. Okay? So we'll meet again tomorrow. So you take care. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम.